Interesting. Now I know why people don't do that. Guys, I have a problem. I love summer. If summer was a dog or a cat, I would pet the f out of it. If summer was a girl who is single, has a nice personality, has a nice smile, has similar interests and hobbies as me, I would ask her out, and then she'll say no. She'll reject me. And then I'll cry like a little for the next 10 years. It's called character development. Anyways, the point I'm trying to make is that I love summer and the summer fragrances that come with it. Usually these are fresh, citrusy, florals. The funny thing is I wear summer fragrances during summer and I wear them during winter because it reminds me of summer. So needless to say, I have a lot to share this season. So this will be a series of summer fragrances that I personally wear. And today we'll be starting with 4 that I thought would be good for this particular video. I chose 4 that are relatively more affordable, more approachable, and easy to come by. You might find these at websites, discounters, department stores. So I basically chose 4 that are, let's just say, beginner friendly. So the first one is Un Jardin Charlene by Herms. I did do a review of this right before this video, so you guys knew I was gonna include this one. As the name implies, it's inspired by the garden on the Nile River. You never been to the Nile River? Me neither. But there's a river in your country, right? Go to that river. Go to that river and sniff that river. I'm sure it's the same thing. No, not really. Imagine a garden with various flowers and vegetables. It is very bitter in the beginning, so don't get surprised. But it soon dries down into this watery green thing. It's transparent and elegant like Hermes. There is a lot of citrus in this, but it is not dominant. And that bitterness reminds me of green mango, tomato stem and leaf, and as I previously mentioned in my last video when I did a full review of this, bitter melon. So if you like green unisex fragrance, this is definitely one you should check out. Next up is Acqua di Parma Fico di Amfi. I love this fragrance. I love Acqua di Parma in general, but this is definitely a standout. I'm gonna put some on right now. Woo! So this is arguably one of the most popular fragrance from Acqua di Parma, and definitely the most popular fragrance from Blue Mediterraneo line. And for a very good reason. My regular watchers already know this, but the fragrances I normally recommend or share are unisex, and this is definitely not an exception. It means figs on the Amalfi Coast in Italy. And fig happens to be one of my favorite notes of all time. If you look at, if I ever made a list of my favorite fragrances ever, which will never happen, a lot of them are figs. And this probably will be in there, somewhere, out there. You know, when someone says fig, I feel like most people, the first fragrance they think of is Diptyque Philosophus, because it is probably the most famous fig scent out there, and it's a great reference point. So imagine Philosophus, but lighter and less greener, fresher, fruitier version that bursts with citruses. Mwah. This is freaking fresh, but it also surprisingly gets very creamy, juicy, sugary, sweet, but it's light enough to even be oversprayed on the hottest day of summer. It doesn't last, so you might have to use a lot. So something occurred to me recently when I visited Acqua di Parma store at a department store recently. It never occurred to me that every single fragrance from Acqua di Parma has citrus in it. They're actually kind of known for citrus, like Atelier Cologne. The overall experience I had with this fragrance is that it's relaxing, which seems to be a common reoccurrence in my summer collection. It has a relaxing and soothing quality. Hence why I use most of it at home when I'm reading the news or magazine. I love Acqua di Parma and I can't wait to share other fragrances offered by them, But if you are new to this line, I highly suggest you start with this one. Fun fact, I don't know if you guys recall the video I did with Jardin, my friend, a couple weeks back. I actually shot 3 videos with her, but I never ended up releasing 2 of them. I only released 1 because the audio was so bad. The other 2 videos are actually her reacting to my summer collection, including this, and this happens to be one of her favorites on that day, which was so interesting because she absolutely hates citruses usually. I really can't imagine anyone actually hating on this, so do check this one out. Next fragrance I want to share is Garland Homme. The one I have is EDP. I believe EDT is discontinued. So regular watchers of my channel know that most of the fragrances I gravitate towards are either unisex or even feminine, but this is one of those very rare cases where this is targeted towards men, and it does lean very masculine. But doesn't matter, wear it if you like it. Doesn't matter if you're a woman or like 78 Gundam. Imagine a mojito with some pepper sprayed on top of it. Why? Because you asked for the wrong thing. It's your fault, not the bartender. And then the next thing you know is that you're in the office. Wow, that sounds terrible. I guess what I'm trying to say is that this is a boozy, fresh, citrusy fragrance that's very work safe. Being a Garland, it is traditionally masculine and classic. One personal thing that does annoy me about Garland Homme, and a lot of Garlands I've smelled personally, is that it has a very sharp and zesty citrus opening, in this case lime, which seems to be a very common occurrence to Garland. I think it's like sort of their DNA actually. But I find it very artificial and synthetic and sharp. But once that mellows down, it's quite pleasant. And this one surprisingly lasts a long time considering it's a freshie. I never worked in a corporate setting, so it never occurred to me to care about the dress code or, fragrances and things like that. But if you are one of those people, and if you are tired of Bleu de Chanel or, God forbid, Dior Sauvage and things like that, this is definitely a good alternative. It's a fragrance that you can just grab every day without much thought to it and just, spray it. And the other thing I really like about Garland and Garland Homme in general is that it's very affordable. I got this, the price depends on the country that you live in, right? But I got this for around $20-$30, so that was a steal. So the next fragrance I wear during summer that I'll be sharing with you guys is a great example of why this list is a personal list and it's more of a reflection of my character. Meaning, don't just buy the ones I wear because you are you. You are not me.
You are not you. You're me. No shit.
Think of it as your reference point. Let's be honest, why would I want others to smell like me? Anyways, the reason I say this is because this fragrance is traditionally not a summer fragrance, not at all. It's none other than Comme des Garçons Incense series Kyoto. Yes, some might think it might be insane to wear incense during summer, and most of the time they might be right. So let me just say this out loud, okay? Herms and Comme des Garçons are probably my favorite designer fragrance brands at this point. They make some really interesting fragrances, especially Comme des Garçons. Comme des Garçons, as expected from a brand that makes very interesting clothes, makes some of the most unique fragrances. So there's 5 fragrances in the Incense series, and each of them is devoted to 5 main spiritual teachings or religions and the cities that are significant to those religions. This one's obviously called Kyoto and is devoted to Buddhism and Shintoism. Whether this actually smells like Kyoto is a discussion for a different video where I'll do a full review of this fragrance because I really, really love this fragrance. But for now, it essentially smells like a Buddhist temple. People's perception on summer is different by the individual. Some might think of summer as a very exciting time where they go see fireworks, maybe go to Disneyland. But the reason I love this fragrance so much is because it reminds me of the calm side to summer. So you have to understand I'm agnostic, but I did grow up nearby a lot of churches and temples. I often used to go to a temple whenever I wanted to escape from the city. Imagine a small wooden temple up in the mountains, very quiet, subtle, peaceful, introspective, visceral, and the shade from the trees and the gentle breeze on a hot summer day. I can dissect this and just let you guys know it smells like subtle incense with woody cypress and cedar with a hint of sweetness. But I assure you, the whole experience is visceral and emotional. And this is one of those fragrances I highly suggest you to try, not because I expect everyone to like it and wear them, but I really think it's a great experience as a fragrance. And this personally reminds me of the incense that they burn at Buddhist temples when I was growing up. Oddly enough, the reason I think this works during summer is because it's very light and airy and very soft. Most incense fragrances that I know of packs quite a punch. It's actually very strong, but this is more like a whisper. There's this slight coolness and sweetness that comes from the dampness and the greenness from the fragrance. Have you ever been to a cave or a wooden temple or house on a hot, bright day, and you're suddenly met with this organic coolness that comes from the cave or the temple? This has that vibe. It's very realistic and smooth. Having said that, I still wouldn't put this on the hottest day of the summer, especially if I know I'll be under a direct sunlight. One negative side to this fragrance is the performance. As I said, it's very soft and airy, so it wouldn't last long. So if you do prefer to have this on the whole day, you better just carry the whole bottle, which is kind of cute. You know, it's a very small bottle. It is very carryable. So there you have it, the 4 fragrances that I'll be sharing with you today. Do you guys have these fragrances? Do you guys have opinions on them? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!